Good morning. Welcome to the live and live Zoom and live in person and live Zoom worship service of the Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is 299, Make Channels for Streams of Love, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to rise or sing as the Spirit moves you. Now, please rise in body or spirit to join us in singing hymn 299, Make Channels for Streams of Love.
Make channels for the streams of love where they may broadly run, and love as overflowing streams to fill them everyone. But if at any time we see such channels to provide, of love for us will soon be parched and dried, for we must share if we would keep this gift all else above. We cease to give, we cease to have, such is the law of love.
Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services in our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Turquoise, a member of the worship committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of our worship committee who make this service possible, including Alec Peck, our music coordinator, who is also leading the Waters Communion service today. Adam Wedeke, who monitors our visual and online connections. Kate Lewicki, who's in charge of our sound system. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart and with muted electronics, please. We come together this morning to remind one another that we are connected in mystery and miracle, awareness and gratitude. We come to this time and this place to renew our faith in holiness, goodness, beauty of life, and to bring our gifts of love and service to the community and to each other. Today, we participate in a special communion offering water from the physical or symbolic places of our lives. Welcome into the space of love, support, and fellowship and justice. We're glad you're here. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of this service, we will leave up a slide with all this information, and it is available on our website. The monthly UUCR newsletter comes out the first of every month by email and per request by postal mail, if you still know what that is. If you have something newsworthy or would like to contribute, email churchofriverside.calendar@gmail.com or call the church office at 951-686-6515. If you would like to be added to our mailing list, please contact the church office. Harvest Lunch. This is our first of 4 luncheons in our lunch series. Help support our church by joining us for good food and conversation. I think the conversation is pretty good too. When it's Saturday, October 18th at 1:30 p.m. at the parish hall, and tickets are $25. Please reserve and purchase tickets by October 16th, as we will not be selling tickets at the door. We will not be selling tickets at the door. See Kate or Robert for further details. We hope you'll join us. Our time together is brief, but it is filled with joy. In that spirit, I invite you to turn to those around you and greet them, welcome them, and share that joy. For those on Zoom, you can use the Zoom wave gesture or just wave at your camera. Welcome to all our visitors today, and welcome back our old friends. We would love to meet you during coffee hour in the parish hall after the service, where you can also find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so we know who you were and that you were here. Also, please leave your contact information if you want updates on church events. You don't have to stay, but if you want to, there's a short discussion after the service, so you can also share your reflections with us. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. And now, I invite you to, okay, good. And now I invite you to sit back. Yeah, take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You're welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission: to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. UUCR member Alec Peck will be leading us in the water communion today. Alec Peck has been practicing UU for a little 27 years and has a deep passion for the intellectual and spiritual challenges which arise from exploring the 6 sources of our living tradition. He was raised in a UU church, chosen by his father, who was raised Quaker, and mother, who was raised Jewish, though both are humanists in practice. Alex studied natural science at Creighton University, a Jesuit institution, and is now completing his PhD at UC Riverside while serving as chair of the worship committee here at UUCR. The water communion, also known as the water ceremony, was first used as a Unitarian Universalist worship service in the 1980s. Many UU congregations now hold a water communion once a year, often at the beginning of the new church year, September. Members bring to the service a small amount of water from a place that is special to them. During the appointed time in the service, people pour their water into a large bowl. The combined water is symbolic of our shared faith, coming from many different sources. We have two lightings of sacred flame. First is a remembrance candle for the indigenous peoples who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We remember we live off the unceded land of several indigenous people, including the Cahuilla, the Luiseno, the Serrano, the Tongva, the Cuipeño, and others. We light this sacred flame in remembrance and in recognition of their ongoing struggle for freedom and dignity. Our second flame, our second sacred flame, is our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's chalice lighting words are by Laura Houghton Ludwig. Fire and water, ancient opposites, sun and ocean, the cradle of life. Dancing flame and dancing river, we invoke together today as we kindle our chalice flame. Our hymn now is 10:08, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. From the Teal hymnal, feel free to rise or sing as the Spirit moves you. Now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 10:08, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our
This portion of our service supports our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, if you still know what those are, which are shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. You get the full value, and the church receives a percentage for free. Please see Robert Brown in the church office if you're interested in purchasing gift cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works for you. Thank you for your generosity. To those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. To all those who have joined us here today, thank you for the gift of your presence. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? A tote bag will also be passed around to collect food and hygiene items for our local community. Our next hymn is number 1010, We Give Thanks, from the Teal Hymnal. Feel free to rise or sing as the Spirit moves. Now, please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 1010, We Give Thanks.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for gathered here, as far away, for this time we share, with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
This part of the service, where we center and ground ourselves in the present moment. We invite you to take a moment, sit back, relax, and if you wish, gently close your eyes. Our meditation today is by Tom Benjamin. Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow, forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come, wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves. Stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation. Let us pause for a moment of silence and reflection. I would now like to introduce Alec Peck, leading our water communion. Please, Alec.
Thank you, Turquoise. The water communion has been a big part of my life. As we said in the intro there, I've been a part of a UU church for a majority of, well, for my entire adult life and a majority of my life as a whole. I should really update that picture though. It's like a decade old now. But anyway, in 1980, two Unitarian Universalist women, Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview, were asked to create a worship service for the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. Why, what a mouthful. And as they shaped that service, McDade and Longview wanted to create a new ritual, quote, that spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet, unquote. They included a new inclusive symbol of women's spirituality, water. They write, water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence, acknowledging that the ocean is considered by many to be the place from which all life on our planet came. It is the womb of life, and that amniotic water surrounds each of us prenatally. We now realize that this worship service was for us a new story of creation. We choose water as our symbol of our empowerment. This November service, held in East Lansing, Michigan, was called Coming Home Like Rivers to the Sea, and its creators, McDade and Longview, enacted their ritual in the liberating space of a semicircle around a large earthenware bowl. They asked 8 different women, each coming from distinct places, to bring water, and they did. Water from the Rio Grande, from the Assiniboia rivers. I'm sure that's a river somewhere. Someone can tell me how that's supposed to be pronounced. And rainwater from Maryland. I know how to pronounce that one. Water from the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, and others were poured into the earthenware bowl as each bearer described its significance. As the ritual continued, says Carolyn McDade, the water deepens its meaning for us, just as water deepens during its long and winding journey to the sea. I'd like to share with you this story by Katie Gelfand, The Vessel of Compassion, a Water Communion Story. Once upon a time, in a time that is both this time and no time, at the turning of the 9th moon of the year, 4 women journeyed from 4 different directions to share a moment of sacredness together. Each carried a pitcher of water from her home, embedded with the stories and emotions of her life and community. They congregated around an empty vessel, united in the desire to listen to the stories and the hearts of one another. The youngest came from the east with the spirit of air. As she poured water from her pitcher into the vessel, she shared stories from her home and her excitement, children being born, music and laughter, fragrances of the neighborhood, the bliss of young people falling in love. As she shared her stories of the heart, she laughed, and drops of liquid joy burst from her mouth and landed in the vessel. The four women paused to honor the stories of the East and the spirit of the woman who shared them. The mother came from the south with the spirit of fire. As she poured water from the pitcher into her vessel, she shared stories from her home about adopting the ever-changing world, the challenges of navigating family life, the challenges of motherhood, the challenges of the difficulties that her community faced with transitions in leadership. As she shared her stories of her heart, a drop of sweat formed on her brow and landed in the vessel. The four women paused to honor the stories of the South and the spirit of the woman who shared them. From the West, with the spirit of water, came the sovereign. As she poured water from her pitcher into the vessel, she shared stories from her home about friends and loved ones who had died, the grief of those who missed them, and a deep pain that she carried for the wounds that humans have inflicted on each other and on our world. As she shared the stories of her heart, a tear of sadness fell from her eye and landed inside the vessel. The four women paused to honor the stories of the West and the spirit of the woman who shared them. And from the north came the elder with the spirit of the earth. As she poured water from her pitcher into the vessel, she shared stories from her home about the peace that she found in solitude, the comfort she found in witnessing the changing of the seasons and the phases of the moon, and the renewal she felt when she shared her wisdom with those willing to listen. As she shared her stories of the heart, one tear of joy fell from her eye and landed inside the vessel. The four women paused to honor the stories from the north and the spirit of the woman who shared them. Now, between the four women was a vessel filled with the waters of joy and happiness, change and transition, grief and loss, and rest and renewal. Mingled together in harmony and blessed by the women through their reverence and their love for each other, the empty vessel of water was now a full vessel of compassion. Each woman took out a small container and filled it with water to bring back to her home to share the spirit of understanding, the spirit of compassion with her own community. I particularly like this story because it's very Unitarian. It has many influences drawn from many places. And we see that, and I particularly like Taoist philosophy, and they have five elements. The one that wood and metal are the elements that are, rather than earth, are the five elements of that system. But it all works in a very similar way. And I like it because each of the women contributing to the vessel of compassion, they each carry with them the elements of nature, and all of those elements are also imbued in water, just as none of the elements of our world can be truly separated. And in that spirit, I have one more story that I want to share before we do our ritual. This one by Molly Hoosh Gordon and Jamila Batchelder, titled The Cycle That Connects Us. Rain falls upon the surface of the earth, and pulled by gravity, each drop begins to flow downhill. Drop merges with drop, flowing together into a trickle, a streamlet, a creek, to the mighty river, flowing onwards to the ocean. Some of the water seeps down into the earth itself as groundwater or deep aquifers, where it will stay for days, years, or millennia until it is finally pulled up again by roots, wells, springs, and geysers, rejoining the dance, the flowing, flowing, flowing. The water flows until it collects in ponds and lakes and seas and vast oceans. And all the while, the sun's rays warm the water, calling it back into vapor so that light can rise it up, 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 each molecule moving on its own again, rising into the higher atmosphere, buoyant and swirling up to where the air grows cool and the water vapor slows and cools and begins to turn again back to droplets. Droplets find droplets and join together again and again, forming clouds, growing heavier and heavier, until at last the weight of them pulls them down again, and rain falls on the surface of the earth. Everywhere on earth, at every moment, is somewhere in this cycle, cycles upon cycles, falling and flowing, sinking, transforming, rising again and again and again. Our planet has all the water that it will ever have and has ever had. This water cycle has been spiraling around and around for more than 4.5 billion years. And that water cycles also in us. This means that the water we gather in our annual ritual comes from all over the world and also from across all time on Earth. The water we gather today has traveled through root systems of trees, long since returned to soil, burst from geysers that ceased spraying a millennia ago, and flowed down rivers that have changed course entirely in 1 billion years. This morning, we may also remember that the water cycle doesn't only involve rivers and plants and clouds, but also all the creatures of the earth. The water cycles through us too, coming in and out of our bodies in many different ways. That means that the molecules in the water you gathered from any of the bodies of water close to us or far away could have been in the tears of joy and sorrow carried by the first person who ever felt love, or from the water of our church sink that contains within it molecules that were once the best chicken soup someone had ever tasted, or in the sweat of the people who built the church and the town of Riverside, or the blood of the mothers that birthed our grandmother's grandmother's grandmother, or even in dinosaur pee. What and when and where do you imagine this magnificent water has been? As we gather the waters of community this morning, let us remember that they connect us and everything that has ever been and everything that ever will be. That is the power of the water we share. And so now I would like to invite you, one at a time, to come up, and if you've brought some water of your own, I'd like you to share with us a few of your thoughts and contribute it to our vessel here in the middle. For those who did not bring any water, I ask you to, we have a vessel here for which you can pour from, and I ask you just to pour a little bit. We need to make sure that everyone gets a turn. And I'd like you, as you come up and contribute water, please share with us, well, you can share what you'd like, but consider sharing with us your hopes for the future in this year, how this water has transformed you, where it came from and what it symbolizes to you, what you gained and what you hope to contribute, or just share this sacred space in silence. And try to keep it to just about a minute or less, since we do have to give everyone a chance to speak. So would anyone like to come up and share their water and also perhaps their story?
Okay, I water my lawn a lot, but not as often as I should. When I do, I forget to turn the water off. The utility company's really happy about that, but I'm sad because I'm contributing to the drought. But on a serious note, this water is an interesting one. It says Deja Blue on it. It's a canned water. This water has traveled back and forth, contained in a can, bottled and defined as purified drinking water. But it's flown in Southwest Airlines back and forth and back and forth. So this is traveling water. But this water came from somewhere else before it got captured in a bottle. So I'm going to release it. It's not a bottle of beer. It's not a can of beer. Here we go. No carbonation, water going to be released. It's not my water. It's just given to me on flights where I used to travel a lot and had the joy of memories from that travel. The water finally ended up in my hands because I didn't have water with me, which meant someone was kind enough to share it. Yeah, interesting thought. Because wherever this water came from, now I'm going to share it with all of you. I'm not drinking it, but I'm going to remember that it came from somewhere else before it got captured. We all came from somewhere else. We're all together contained today. What we hear today, we can take out with us and travel with it with messages of hope, and that maybe we can make a difference. Kind of like the water can quench thirst. Maybe we can quench hope, give hope, act in a way which can maintain our opportunity to be hydrated and flourish. Well, we can't do it alone. We're all in it together. Now, I'm releasing the water, and that probably took more than a minute. Thank you for listening. Southwest Airlines is going somewhere else. Where is it going, Alec?
The silver bowl here on
Okay,
the
that may fill up the bowl. Oh, well,
maybe, well, you can well, if you take a sip, then it'll be your water.
Well,
At least that sip will be.
I
And
don't want to contaminate your bowl, but right now, thank you for listening. Deja Blue is now being released and free to nourish and absorb into the universe and also be a part of what makes us alive. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you. Here we go.
yes, consider you don't need to dump all your water in the bowl. And I will mention also that the water
Supposed to hydrate, so this is a way of me finally putting some of it back into me.
go
Here we go.
Go ahead, Don. And I'll also mention that this water, we do not intend to make it potable. So don't worry about contamination. And the water that's being used here, I invite you to take some of it home, but not to drink, only for watering plants. And the water that we have here will be used to water our wonderful trees outside.
Being in nature and around trees is just really healing and special for me. So I spend a lot of time at Fairmount Park. And so this is water here from Lake Evans there in Fairmount Park. I got it yesterday when Steve Fuji and Turquoise and I were at the Riverside People's Free Market doing some, giving stuff out with Food Not Bombs and with a bunch of other groups. So that's always a really great experience. I love doing that. It's sort of a highlight of my month, but spending time at Fairmount Park is always awesome. So I've got a little bit of water here from Lake Evans.
This water is from my house, specifically from a reverse osmosis system. I installed it myself and installed many such systems and done many things, handyman work in my house. This water represents a few things to me. One, that my youth wasn't easy, and I had to do a lot of things myself. I had to figure out a lot of things with not much explanation. But two, through God's wonderful working, my higher power, and through my own hard effort, this water represents a safe place where I can grow, I can learn who God made me, and even redefine what those things are. Thank you.
This water represents the falls in Oregon where my daughter-in-law spread my son's ashes, who in May. I wasn't able to be there, but this water is in remembrance of a falls that he and his wife visited frequently on their nature walks. And I will always think of that when I think of any water. And hopefully I will go one day to visit those falls.
This water which I'm about to receive represents a cleansing process. Now go to Alan, go to places and just say, confess your sins to the Lord. He will forgive you, and you can start a new life unto the Lord. And the Bible talks about the water and the wine. Thank you for letting me share.
You can take some water from the pitcher on that blue plate and just pour a little bit into the silver bowl. Thank you, Tim.
So this water comes from a place I used to visit with my brother and family when we were younger, and then I recently revisited it and just decided to take some from the river there.
My water will be virtual. And if I were doing it properly, it would be at least half Red Bull. Essentially, mine represents not just the place, but the movement of water, that it's a dry land we live in. But with those pipes, we have our health, the ease of simply hitting a faucet, a green lawn here and there, and movement, and places where properly quenched, we can make plans for the future. We'll need a lot of that water as times go by, times being what they are.
I was originally going to bring water from Baraboo, Wisconsin, the home of some of the Ringling Brothers. But I had to cancel those plans. So I'm going to say it's virtual water in anticipation of going to Baraboo next month. And then the following month, I'm taking my first Road Scholars trip, which I'm really excited about. And my class is going to be at a church retreat, oddly enough, in North Carolina. So, and I will be by a lake.
Last weekend, I collected some water from the ocean. When I look at the ocean, I think of connection and the vastness of everything. So I hope this year I think of that more often.
This water's from my home, which is my sanctuary, but it's also representative of several of the places I love to visit: Sedona, Santa Fe, and Oceanside. And it's also got a lot of lavender in it.
At UU summer camp this year, we sang a song that was based on a Greek quote by a guy whose name I also can't pronounce. I can't pronounce a lot of stuff. And the quote was, "No man steps in the same river twice, because it is not the same river and he is not the same man." And I think that's a really nice quote. And I've been thinking about that a lot. And I've also been thinking about it has fallen out of favor at water communions to talk about the places where your water is from and instead encourage people to talk about what it means to them. So that way, people don't just brag about their vacations. But I think it is magical and special, and our connectedness to the earth and the fact that this water does very literally come from all across the globe is an important part of it. And an important part of this water comes from Potosi and some of it from Italy. But what is the same about both of those are that there are places that I expect I will never be going to again. One of which because it was just for vacation, yeah. But the other one was because of the aforementioned summer camp. It will no longer be held at the campgrounds in Potosi, Missouri, where it's been held for over a decade. And last time when we were there, we had to leave, and we thought that we wouldn't get to go back. And so being back there this year was very special because we got to say goodbye, knowing that it would be the last time.
This water, water everywhere. Unfortunately, not a drop to drink in Gaza. So let's hope the blockade ends and the people can have water and food. Thank you.
This water comes from my garden hose. I use it to water the flowers every day. And it's a pleasure to watch all the growth in all seasons. And as Walt said, we often take water for granted. It's a basic need. And there are a lot of places in the world where even this simple basic need is not met. And so we will try to work to correct that injustice in any way we can.
Mine will have to be virtual water also.
I want my water to be healing water. I'm picturing from Morro Bay. I did not go there this year, but it is in my heart always. And my granddaughter went there for the first time this year. And she will be undergoing a heart procedure tomorrow. And my thoughts are with her. And I want it to be healing water for her, healing water for a number of friends of mine who are going through difficult medical situations, and healing for all of us, for all the earth. We need a lot of healing.
Thank you for providing the water and for providing this space. I'm here because I heard the words the first day I was here, peace and equity for all. I'd like to add peace, equity, and water for all. Because from Flint, Michigan to Gaza to the hot summer where the unhoused population in Riverside maybe didn't have access to water, that is the least that we can do. And that's what I hope for this year.
Yes, I often like to tell people that I believe that fresh water is actually our most precious resource. They sometimes retort, actually, our children are our most precious resource. And I like to remind them that children are 70% water. Thank you, everyone, for blessing us with your presence and with your stories, even those stories which fall too heavily on your heart to share. I would like, so for those of you who have a small vessel to take, Ralph, did you want to come up? Sure.
The George kiss is made up of water. I just wanted to mention that. It's a way of conveying love from one species to another.
Thank you, Ralph. And I'm sorry for cutting anyone off early. If there's anyone else who'd like to come and contribute some water, even in silence, then I invite you now to come and add some water to our vessel.
The rebirth of Christ, and I will be going soon to San Diego. So anyhow, and I just came from New Mexico.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing with us your stories, your aspirations, your hopes, and your travels. Thank you for reminding us that this water comes from all places and that we are all part of one great cycle. And thank you for being here with me today, this morning. I would like to remind you, thanks, Tim, if you've got a small vessel of your own, to take some water back with you, go ahead and take some. But my water included was taken from a lake. So only if you're going to take some water, consider it gray water, and only use it as such. Yeah, that means don't drink it. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for spending this time with me this morning. Namaste, amen, and blessed be.
Our closing hymn is number 151, I Wish I Knew How, from the Graham Room. Feel free to rise or sing as the Spirit moves you. Now, please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 151, I Wish I Knew How.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all these chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things I can say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole world to hear. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole world to hear. I wish I could share all the love in my heart. Remove all walls that still keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree everyone should be free. Then you'd see and agree everyone should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things I can do. Though I'm way overdue, might be starting anew. Though I'm way overdue, might be starting anew. I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Then I'd sing 'cause I know how it feels to be free.
God of ocean and sea, river and pond, raindrops and mountain dew, what grace your presence is among us. May we live in gratitude through posture and action. May we be faithful in returning land to its tenders, returning to right relationships with our own creaturely bodies, and returning our attention to the protection of this planet, that life may flourish locally and globally. May it be so. Namaste. Amen. Blessed be. Thank you, Alec, and to all of you for sharing in this UU tradition with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. We will have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion following the service for those who wish. Are we doing discussion today?
I think we can just.
Yeah. So we're going to not do discussion, and we're just going to break so you can have coffee and snacks. What? So we obviously have this all figured out beforehand. This is just kind of like to trick you. We're going to have a brief discussion period for 10 to 15 minutes. Please come up and share your thoughts. Would anyone like to come up and share their thoughts? Is there anyone online who'd like to share with us? Thank you.
Sorry for cutting this off, of course.
In the tradition of all Unitarian churches across time and across the world, etc., we're always by nature a political animal for goodness and progressive. I just wanted to mention with this horrific assassination of somebody on the right, we must always remind ourselves and anybody that we see that we don't fight with people, we fight with ideas. That if we have the more clever idea, then our idea will prevail, because in a democracy, the people are like the jury, and they can see and judge and decide if we have the more clever idea, and then they make the change and our ideas win. Thank you.
Come on up, Diane.
I find knowledge is power. I like to look at new ideas. I like to consider them. And one of them I want to share with you for your reference only is something I listened to on I saw it on a book club discussion, and I purchased the book. Now, it is written by a gentleman named Richard Rohr. It's relevant, and I'm going to show it for this reason. It's entitled The Tears of Things. It is on the bestsellers list right now. It was written by a man who believed we could find better in ourselves if we followed some of the ideas that were given to us a long time ago. And it's tied with activism. It's tied with finding ways to embrace some idea that might make it better. Now, I won't go further than this, but I will say it's worth a read. This is not the book, but this is the synopsis of the work and a workbook that goes with this book. Very interesting book. And since the word tears when it's the night that I bring it in, because it would be relevant to water. But if you want to really take it quickly, what I've seen so far from what I've been reading is that the idea is when we cry, our body is releasing something deep within our heart. It may be because we're sad, it may be because we're joyful, but we're connecting with something very deep inside of ourselves. And we will grow and be better for listening to that little voice that brings the tears. Now, that's a real simplified version of this, but it's written by a Franciscan monk who also does a lot of meditation work, works out of New Mexico, an older man, very successful and very brilliant in terms of digging out ideas for thought. And maybe in the process, since this word said tears, I would promote the concept of considering, take a look at it. The Tears of Fear by Richard Rohr. So, and I have no money coming from the endorsement of this. This was not a sponsored piece of information. but it touches the heart because I find oftentimes I will cry and I'm not sure why. And maybe for some reason, for that moment, the interior part of me was connecting with something far above myself and going into the heart of myself. So that's enough of me, but it does have tears in it, so it's relevant to our topic. Thank you for listening.
Last call for comments. Anyone online as well who want? Okay. And I'll give you one more reminder to take some of the water back with you. I've got some thirsty plants who would like some of it. Then once again, thank you all for this wonderful morning together, and let us all get a little bit of coffee and some snacks.